Hello everyone, welcome back to the Popsicle Night channel. My name is Joseph, and welcome to another episode of Popsicle Nightly News. With the Brilliant Star set due to be released on February 25, 2022, in this video I'm going to tell you what you need to know about the upcoming set. And to simplify, I'm going to subdivide this video into different categories. Please feel free to look at the description below for the timestamps so that you can skip to the part that you would like to see the most. The one and only special energy we have from this set is Double Turbo Energy. Just like the Twin Energy, it acts as two colorless energy, but unlike Twin Energy, you can attach this one to any type of Pokemon. But the trade-off is that your Pokemon do 20 less damage to your opponent's Pokemon. I think it's a fair handicap or a fair trade-off, especially V Pokemon can do a lot of damage already, so it keeps that balance between single prizer and multi-prize Pokemon. But this is definitely going to see a lot of play, especially for the Pokemon that needs a lot of energy to attack. Ultra Ball, of course, is making a comeback in this set. You can use this card only if you discard two other cards from your hand. Search your deck for a Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into your hand. What makes this great is that you are not limited to any type of Pokemon from your deck, unlike Quick Ball and Evolution Instance, which limits you to basic or evolution Pokemon. This one you can search for any Pokemon. This card will definitely become a staple in every deck moving forward. Pot Helmet will be a great addition to single price builds. It adds 30 defense, or your Pokemon will receive 30 less damage from attacks. It is limited to single price Pokemon or Pokemon with no rule box on it, because even though the new Sparkling that is set to be released at some point in the future are single price Pokemon, they have rule box on it, or the Prism Star Pokemon have rule box on them, so it doesn't apply to that. But this is definitely going to see a lot of play to a lot of single price builds. One of the most anticipated cards in this set is going to be Choice Belt. What makes this great is it adds 30 damage to your Pokemon's attack against V Pokemon. This is going to be a game changer in the meta right now, since V Pokemon are on top of the food chain. Whether or not you're a single pricer that has this equipped, the extra 30 damage you deal on your opponent's Pokemon may just give you the advantage for a winning game. Freshwater set heals 20 damage from each of your Pokemon. I feel like this card is very circumstantial, but this could be great against matchup that deals spread damage. Or if you have Pokemon that deals damage to your entire bench, this could be a great healing option. Blunder Policy can be very useful for specific types of decks. If the Pokemon this card is attached to uses an attack, if you flip any coins for the damage or effect of that attack, and if any of them are tails, you draw 3 cards at the end of your turn. So let's make it clear, this is for an attack, not an ability. So if you flip a coin, if it's tails, you draw 3 cards. I can see this being useful for Maractus or Wailord V builds, especially you flip a lot of coins and you will get tails for the most part. You not only dish out damage, but you also get that extra drawing power. So I feel like Blunder Policy is going to be a great card for these specific types of builds. Cleansing Gloves allows you to do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Psychic Pokemon. While this card may not see a lot of play, Hunting Gloves allows you to do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Dragon Pokemon. Especially the new Dragon types don't have resistance or weakness. That extra damage may help you in your hunting for dragons. Collapse Stadium is a disruption card. Each player cannot have more than 4 benched Pokemon. So if you have more than 4, you have to discard them until you have 4 left. And whoever played this card discards first. And if more than one effect changes the number of benched Pokemon allowed, use the smaller number. This actually synergizes with some Pokemon that is in this set too, so stay tuned for that. Magma Basin Stadium is a great card, and it's going to make fire Pokemon rise again. Once during each player's turn, that player may attach a fire energy card from their discard pile to one of their benched fire Pokemon, and then you put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. While it is limited to benched fire Pokemon, that extra energy acceleration does make a difference during setup. And just like Houndoom, when it attaches the single strike energy from the deck to one of the single strike Pokemon, adds 2 damage counters on it, it's not a bad trade-off when you can set up faster than your opponent. We have great new supporter cards in this set, starting with Cynthia's Ambition. You draw cards until you have 5 cards in your hand. If any of your Pokemon were knocked out during your opponent's last turn, however, you can draw until you have 8 cards in your hand instead. Very reminiscent of Bruno, but you don't get to shuffle your hand back to the deck and draw cards. So if you have a lot of cards on hand already, you really can't use this one. But I can see this being useful on some builds like Malamar, because you do end up shuffling a lot of cards when you attack. and if your Pokemon is knocked out, you can draw a lot of cards with Cynthia's Ambition. So this can be very useful in a lot of builds, and it really is a strong draw supporter card. Marnie Sprite is also really good. You attach a basic energy from your discard pile to one of your benched Pokemon. I like the fact that you can attach it to any Pokemon as long as they're on the bench. And the fact that you're not limited to a certain type of basic energy makes this card even better. A great energy accelerator for sure. And Morpeko V actually is designed to go along with this Marnie Sprite, which we will discuss later on in this video. This next card is a strong recovery card, Roseanne's Backup. Choose one or more of these options. You shuffle a Pokemon tool card, stadium card, an energy card, or all of them, and then you put them back from the discard pile back to your deck. I can see this as a great recovery, especially for those builds that needs to recycle their special energy back to the deck, like the Fusion Strike energy. Very powerful, and I also can see this being played in a lot of control decks. Team Yell's Cheer allows you to shuffle up to 3 in any combination of Pokemon and supporter cards, except for Team Yell's Cheer from your discard pile into your deck. Another great recovery card. I can see this being played more for like decks that rely on combinations of support like Marnie and Morpeko V, and also Acerola and Mimikyu VMAX, which we will discuss again later on in this video. But when you need to recover those support cards that you need to increase attack, this Team Yell's Cheer could be a useful card to use in those builds. Cafe Master allows you to choose 3 of your benched Pokemon, and then for each of those Pokemon, search your deck for a different type of basic energy and attach it to that Pokemon. However, your turn will end. The fact that your turn ends makes this card a little dangerous to use, but that energy acceleration is really good. And in tandem with Alcremie's ability, if it's in the active spot, your turn doesn't have to end. One downside is they all have to be different type of basic energy, so you can't use all fire, for example. However, I can see this being used in colorless type builds, for example, colorless type Pokemon, or even dragon type that uses a lot of different types of energy. This card can actually be a really useful card to use. Kindler is another great draw support or search card, if you want to call it that, especially to fire type builds. You can use this card only if you discard a fire energy card from your hand, and then you can look at the top 7 cards of your deck, and you can put up to 2 of them into your hand, then you shuffle the other cards back to your deck. Unlike Jirachi or Pokegear, you're limited to only trainer cards or even just support cards. The fact that you can get up to 2 of any type of card makes this card really, really powerful. Sharon's Care is one of those support cards that is heavily underrated, and I can kind of see that because it is limited only to colorless Pokemon. But what it does is actually really powerful. You put one of your colorless Pokemon that has any damage counters on it, and all attached cards into your hand. This one is very useful on colorless type VMAX because while there's scoop up net for single prizers, there's really no scoop up net for VMAXs, and this one can effectively remove liability when you play it. So very strong card, but very specific. And then we have a new design of the Boss's Order featuring Cyrus. You switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active Pokemon. Nothing new here, hands down still the best card in the game. Professor's Research, of course, one of the most powerful draw support in the game, this time redesigned featuring Professor Rowan. You discard your hand and then draw 7 cards. Gloria allows you to search your deck for up to 3 basic Pokemon that don't have a rule box and put them straight onto your bench. This will be a great addition to single price builds. Acerola's Premonition makes your opponent reveal their hand and you draw a card for each trainer card you find there. It's a unique draw support, and Mimikyu VMAX is uniquely designed to pair with Acerola's Premonition to increase its attack. Francine Geller is nothing unique, you draw 3 cards, but we can appreciate the compilation of the different trainer characters all in one artwork. And finally we have Barry, again nothing unique here, simple draw support card where it allows you to draw 3 cards. Hands down, one of the best cards in this set, Arceus V-Star. I put this in the support Pokemon because it just sets up nicely for any type of deck in the format. It has the attack Trinity Nova for 3 colorless energy. It deals 200 damage, and then you can search up to 3 basic energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon V in any way you like. The energy acceleration is excellent. And then it has a V-Star power. Its ability is Starbirth. During your turn, you may search your deck for up to 2 cards and put them into your hand. What makes this powerful is that you can search for any 2 cards from your deck. And since it's an ability, it's not going to end your turn. However, you can only use this once per game. Another great card is Luminion V. It has the ability Luminous Sign. When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench during your turn, you can search your deck for a supporter card. This is great for searching up boss's orders or any supporter card when you need it. Just like Tapu Lele GX of old, I'm pretty sure this is gonna make its way to a lot of tier 1 decks. It also has the attack Aqua Return, deals 120 damage, and you can remove this from play, removing liability because you can shuffle this Pokemon and everything attached onto it back to your deck. A great draw support Pokemon is Liepard. It has the ability Trade. It's the same as Cinccino's Make Do ability. You have to discard a card from your hand in order to use it, and then you can draw 2 cards. What makes this great is that we're already familiar with its mechanics, so it's gonna make its way into a lot of builds. But also, it's a dark type. I can see this being played in a lot of Eternatus VMAX build, and that's gonna make it more powerful. But also, it's gonna be safe from rotation this year. Another great draw support is Bibarel. It has the ability Industrious Incisors. Once during your turn, you may draw cards until you have 5 cards in your hand. It's the same ability as Silvally GX Disc Reload ability, which saw a lot of play during its time. And it's similar also to Genesect V's ability. What makes Bibarel great is that you can include it in any type of builds. It is a stage 1, so that's what makes it a little awkward. However, it is very powerful draw card nonetheless. Then we have Manaphy. This one is the card that I'm most excited for in the set, just because it has the powerful ability Wave Veil, the same as Mew's Bench Barrier ability, where it prevents all damage done to your bench Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. Since the rotation of Mew, Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX has just gatekeep a lot of single price builds because it prevented you from setting up your bench. It'll just snipe it and knock it out. But now with this powerful ability on our side, single price builds are gonna make a comeback, and I'm just so excited for it. And then we have Entei V. It's basically a fire version of Suicune V. Same ability, fleet-footed once during your turn. If this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may draw a card. We've seen how powerful this ability is. And just like Suicune V's attack, this one depends on how many Pokemon are on the bench of both players. But instead of Blizzard, this one is Burning Rondo. And then we have Raikou V, the lightning version of Suicune V. Same ability, fleet-footed once during your turn. If this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may draw a card. And again, similar attack, but this one is Lightning Rondo. This attack does 20 more damage for each benched Pokemon. And so now we have all 3 legendary Pokemon of this generation. We have the Lightning, Water, and Fire version of the Suicune V. So we're going to see a lot of success with these 3. And I'm sure it's going to be a great addition to Lightning type builds and also Fire type builds. And finally, we have Zamazenta V with the ability Regal Stance. Once during your turn, you can discard your hand, then draw 5 cards. But if you use this ability, your turn ends. It could be useful but dangerous. Just like Snorlax, your turn ends when you use Gourmandize. But if you have a full hand, you can't really draw any more cards. But with Zamazenta V, if you don't have anything useful on hand, you can just discard your hand and then you just draw 5 fresh cards, which could be very powerful, but it is a liability because you do give up 2 prizes instead of 1 with Snorlax. It also has the attack Revenge Blast. It does 120 plus damage, and then this attack does 30 more damage for each prize your opponent has already taken. So for a total of 270 damage, is actually not bad for a final blow. Moving on now to our Pokemon V, VMAX, and V-Star, starting with Arceus V-Star. This is hands down the most powerful Pokemon in this set. The attack is so powerful, you deal 200 damage, but also great energy accelerator. You search your deck for up to 3 basic energy cards and then attach them to your Pokemon V in any way you like. It's so versatile, you can include this in any type of build. It also has the V-Star power, although you can only use it once. Starbirth allows you to search your deck for any 2 cards. Just a very powerful card overall. And even before it evolves, Arceus V is already powerful. It has the attack Trinity Charge. For 2 colorless energy, you can search your deck for up to 3 basic energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon V in any way you like. Unlike its V-Star version, this attack doesn't do any damage, but very good for setup. Especially on your first turn going second, you can easily use the double turbo energy to power up this attack. One of the most sought after cards in the set is Charizard V-Star, not just because of its collectability but also its power. It has the attack Explosive Fire, which deals 130 plus damage, but if there's any damage counters on this Pokemon, this attack does 230 damage instead. Works perfectly or synergizes well with Magma Basin Stadium. While your Charizard is in the bench and you attach a fire energy from your discard pile to your bench Charizard V, it will deal 2 damage counters on it. setting up for that increased attack power. It also has the V-Star power Star Blaze. While it has 4 energies required to it, it does 320 damage, and then you discard 2 energies from this Pokemon. Another sought after card is Charizard V. Just look at this beautiful alternate art. It has 2 attacks. The first one is Incinerate. It does 90 damage, but before doing damage, you discard all Pokemon tools from your opponent's active Pokemon. This is such a great counter towards Honchkrow V that has the ability which allows it to attach 4 Pokemon tool cards on it. Again, great counter, but it also has a second attack, Heat Blast, which does 180 damage. Another powerful Pokemon is Whimsicott V-Star. It has the attack Trick Wind. It does 160 damage, and then during your opponent's next turn, they cannot play any Pokemon tool or special energy from their hand. A great disruption for decks that specializes in special energy, and it can be a great counter to Honchkrow V as well. Its V-Star power is Fluffball Star. This attack does 60 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon for each energy attached to this Pokemon. So if you have 5 energy or more attached, you can pretty much one-hit KO any Pokemon in the game from anywhere on the board, which is insane. Its pre-evolution is Whimsicott V. It has 2 attacks. The first one is Fluff Gets in the Way. It deals 20 damage, and if the defending Pokemon is a basic Pokemon, it cannot attack during your opponent's next turn. It could be a good disruption. Its second attack is Cotton Guard. It deals 90 damage, and during your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 30 less damage from attacks. Yet another powerful Pokemon is Shaymin V-Star with the attack Revenge Blast. It deals 120 plus damage, and this attack does 40 more damage for each prize card your opponent has taken. So down to their last prize, you can add 200 damage to this attack for a total of 320 damage. Its V-Star power is Star Bloom. It's an ability, during your turn you may heal 120 damage for each of your benched grass Pokemon. Its pre-evolution is Shaymin V. It has 2 attacks. The first one is Flap. It does 30 damage. And its second attack is Revenge Blast. It does 60 plus damage and 40 more for each prize card your opponent has already taken. So down to their last prize, you add 200 damage for a total of 260 damage. 60 less damage than the V-Star version. Moving on to our first VMAX, Mimikyu VMAX. It has 2 attacks. The first one is Ominous Numbers, and this attack works hand in hand with Acerora's Premonition support card. You put 4 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like. However, if you played Acerora's Premonition from your hand during this turn, you can place 13 damage counters instead. This is a great attack, especially it goes through Manaphy's ability. Its second attack is Max Shadow. It deals 120 damage, and then you discard a random card from your opponent's hand. Next up, we have the delicious King Crab, Kingler VMAX. It has 2 attacks. The first one is Bubbles Galore. For just 1 water energy, you search your deck for up to 5 water energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. Such a powerful energy acceleration. Its second attack is G-Max Pinsir. It does 240 damage, but this Pokemon also does 30 damage to itself. Its pre-evolution is Kingler V. It has 2 attacks. The first one is Falling Bubbles. For 1 water energy, you flip a coin, and if it's heads, you can search your deck for up to 5 water energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. It's not 100% guaranteed just like its VMAX form. However, you can increase your chances with the help of Glimwood Tangle. And why not just pair this with Wailord V? That one requires a lot of energy, and it also uses Glimwood Tangle. This one has second attack, Raging Pinsir. It does 200 damage and then 30 damage to itself. Next is a powerful Raichu V. This one has seen a lot of play in Japan already. It has 2 attacks. The first one is Fast Charge. If you go first, you can use this attack during your first turn. Search your deck for a Lightning Energy card and attach it to this Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. But its most notable attack is its second one, Dynamic Spark. It does 60 times damage, and you can discard any amount of Lightning Energy from your Pokemon, and this attack does 60 damage for each card you discard in this way. So 5 energies, 300 damage, 6 is 360 damage, which KOs any Pokemon in the game, and you can accelerate energy with the help of Flaffy. Next up is Aggron VMAX. It has 2 attacks. The first one is Cracking Stomp. It does 150 damage. Discard the top card of your opponent's deck. Its second attack is Super Expensive Attack, Max Takedown. It does 270 damage, and this Pokemon also does 30 damage to itself. While it's expensive, we do have access to Double Turbo Energy, which could help accelerate this energy. Its pre-evolution is Aggron V. It has 2 attacks. The first one is Rock Slide. It does 90 damage, and this attack also does 30 damage to 2 of your opponent's benched Pokemon. Its second attack is a very expensive attack, Merciless Strike. It does 150 plus damage, and if your opponent's active Pokemon already has any damage counters on it, This attack does 300 damage instead. Very powerful attack, but very, very expensive. One of the more unique cards in the set is Honchkrow V, because of its ability Boss Pockets, which allows you to attach up to 4 Pokemon tool cards on this Honchkrow V, which is crazy. It also has the attack Fearsome Shadow. It deals 130 damage, and then your opponent reveals their hand. While there's a lot of counter to this Honchkrow V, either discarding all the tool cards or disabling its ability, if you can make it work, there's some crazy combos that can go with this Honchkrow V's ability. For example, if you have 4 Choice Belt equipped, you can add up to 120 extra damage to Honchkrow's attack. What if you equip 4 Rugged Helmet? If Honchkrow V gets damaged, you can return 4 energy cards from the attacking Pokemon back to your opponent's hand, which is insane. How about 4 Cape of Toughness? That makes Honchkrow V's HP up to 400, and these combos are just to name a few. Next up is Granbull V. It has 2 attacks. The first one is Chomp. It does 30 plus damage, and this attack does 10 more damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. So if you're down to your last HP, this attack can do 230 damage. And if you add Cape of Toughness, increasing its HP, you can have up to 280 damage. Its second attack is Bull Dash. It does 190 damage, and this Pokemon also does 30 damage to itself. And finally, we got Flygon V. It has 2 attacks. The first one is Sand Spray. It does 70 damage. And its second attack is Draconic Impulse. It does 160 plus damage. And if your opponent's active Pokemon is a Pokemon VMAX, this attack does 320 damage instead. And then you discard 3 energies from this Pokemon. I feel like the attacks on this Pokemon is very expensive, especially you have 2 different kinds. And I think the easiest way to accelerate this is with the help of Arceus V-Star. One of the most unique synergies in the set is between Alcremie and Cafe Master. And to review, Cafe Master can accelerate 3 different types of energies to 3 of your benched Pokemon, however your turn will end. Alcremie helps with that because of its ability Additional Order. As long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, your turn will not end when you use Cafe Master. And it synergizes well with its attack, Rainbow Flavor. It does 10 plus damage, but it does 40 more damage for each type of basic energy attached to all of your Pokemon. Since we have 8 different types of energies available, you can deal as much as 320 damage with Alcremie, which is insane. The next synergy is between Electivire and Magmortar. Electivire has 2 attacks. The first one is Explosive Bolt. It does 30 plus damage, and if any of your benched Magmortar have any damage counters on them, this attack does 120 damage instead for 1 lightning energy. And I can see this being played with Magma Basin. While Magmortar is on the bench, you can attach a fire energy onto Magmortar, dealing 2 damage counters on it. And then you can set up for this attack to deal that 120 damage for 1 energy. Its second attack is High Voltage Current. This attack does 50 damage for each of your opponent's Pokemon. So with a full bench, 6 Pokemon in total, you can deal as much as 300 damage, and then you can also use Flaffy to energize this attack. While I think Electivire is the powerful of the 2, Magmortar is also pretty powerful. It has 2 attacks. The first one is Mega Punch. It deals 50 damage. And its second attack is Bolt Explosion. It deals 120 plus damage. However, if Electivire is on your bench, this attack does 240 damage instead. Another cool synergy is between Flygon and Muk, and we're going to focus mostly on its first attack, Desert Pillar. This attack does 50 damage for each energy in your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost. And what Muk does is that its ability increases its retreat cost by 1. So if you can stack 4 Muks with this ability, and also with the help of Galarmine, you can add 2 additional retreat costs for a total of 6, making this attack go up to 300 damage. And most Pokemon already have a retreat cost onto them, so you can pretty much one-hit KO any Pokemon in the game with just 1 energy. While it is awesome to make this synergy work, it might not be as easy as it looks, because Muk's ability, Sludge Street, can increase the retreat cost of your opponent's Pokemon. However, they have to be poisoned. There are ways to poison your opponent's active Pokemon. However, if you can also use this attack, Shrieking Poison, which deals 90 damage, leaving your opponent's active Pokemon confused and poisoned. Another awesome synergy is between Pachirisu and Honchkrow V. Pachirisu has the attack Wind Up Thunder, which does 30 damage for each Pokemon tool attached to all of your Pokemon. Honchkrow V allows you to attach 4 tool cards onto it. So if you have 4 Honchkrow V with 4 tool cards attached, that's a total of 16 tool cards times 30 damage. That's a total of 480 damage, which one-hit KOs any Pokemon in the game if you can pull off this combo. And yet another counter to Honchko will be Dracovish V, more for its first attack, Slosh and Crash. It does 60 plus damage. Before you do damage, you discard all Pokemon tools from your opponent's active Pokemon. And if you discard a Pokemon tool in this way, this attack does 180 damage instead. But it also has a second attack, Dragon Strike, 210 damage, and then you can't use Dragon Strike on your next turn. Our next synergy is between Morpeko V and Marnie's Pride supporter card. Morpeko V has two attacks. The first one is Gnaw and Run. It does 30 damage, and then you can switch this Pokemon with one of your benched Pokemon. However, its second attack, Hangry Spike, is where the synergy is. It does 120 plus damage. However, if you played Marnie's Pride from your hand during this turn, this attack does 240 damage instead. One of the more obvious combos in this set is between the Kindler supporter card and the Magma Basin Stadium. Because you can only use Kindler if you discard a Fire Energy card from your hand, that sets up nicely for Magma Basin because now you'll have Fire Energy in the discard pile to accelerate to one of your benched Fire Pokemon. And although we've already mentioned this, Charizard's attack actually requires that you have damage counters on it to increase its attack to 230 damage. And again, with the synergy between Kindler, discard that Fire Energy, and then Magma Basin accelerates that discarded energy to one of your Charizard in the bench, get that damage counters on it, then you have that increased attack. So you have this awesome synergy between these three cards for sure. And speaking of Fire-type Pokemon, we haven't mentioned Simisear V yet. More for its first attack because it's a great energy accelerator. Bursting power for just one Fire Energy, it does 20 damage, but you can also attach up to 2 basic energy cards from your hand to your Pokemon in any way you like. Its second attack is Flare Juggling. It does 90 plus damage, and this attack does 30 more damage for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. And with an average of 3 energies, you can deal 180 damage with this attack. And I also added in Arceus V-Star because this one just synergizes with all decks. You can just put this in any deck and then it will work. And that's pretty much it. Moving on now to our honorable mentions, and on the top of our list is Ice-Cube because this is the only Fusion Strike Pokemon in this set. More for its attack, Black Slider, which Mew VMAX can copy. This attack does 40 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon for each Fusion Strike energy attached to all of your Pokemon. With 4 Fusion Strike energies, you can deal up to 160 damage, which is a great snipe because you can attack any Pokemon anywhere on your opponent's board. Mew VMAX can now be a sniper too, which is insane, and this synergizes well with Meloetta, which also depends on how many Fusion Strike energies are in play. Next up is Moltres because it has the attack Inferno Wings. It does 20 plus damage. If this Pokemon has any damage counters on it, this attack does 70 more damage. And this attack's damage isn't affected by weakness. For one single Fire Energy, this attack is awesome for 90 damage. And again, synergizes well with Magma Basin. If this is on the bench, you can attach a Fire Energy from the discard pile to this Pokemon, adding that damage counter on this Pokemon, allowing it to hit for 90 damage continually. Next up, we have Axew because of its awesome attack, Ultra Evolution for 1 colorless energy. While it's not a guarantee because you have to flip a coin successfully, and if you get heads, you can search your deck for a Haxorus and put it onto this Axew to evolve it. With the help of Glimwood Tangle, you can reflip that coin so that you can have more success. Then you can skip the stage 1 evolution of this Pokemon and evolve it to its stage 2 right away into Haxorus. Now, Haxorus is nothing special. It has 2 attacks. The first one is Slash, it does 60 damage, and its second attack is Wild Axe, it does 160 damage, and this Pokemon also does 30 damage to itself. Staraptor is actually a really awesome card too. It has the Strong Breeze attack where you can shuffle your opponent's active Pokemon and all attached cards into their deck. This is insane, like Pidgeot. This one doesn't put it back to your opponent's hand though, it goes back to their deck. And you can use this against Dragosault VMAX or Stunjurner VMAX, which focuses more on not getting knocked out, but then you just remove them from play and then win that way. It also has a second attack, Spinning Bird. It does 180 damage, and then you discard 2 energies from this Pokemon. Really, really cool card. This Lucario is super powerful. It has the ability Roaring Resolve, just like the old Charizard. Once during your turn, you may put 2 damage counter on this Pokemon. If you do, search your deck for a Fighting Energy card and attach it to this Pokemon. So very self-sufficient, and it has the attack Aura Sphere Volley. It does 10 plus damage, and then you discard all Fighting Energy from this Pokemon, and this attack does 60 more damage for each card you discarded in this way. So with 5 energies discarded, you deal 310 damage, and you can use its ability up to 5 times before you knock it out. But This doesn't include the manual attachment that you can do for that extra damage, which can potentially help you to one-hit KO any Pokemon in the game. Infernape is really powerful. It has 2 attacks. The first one is Infernal Vortex. You reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, and this attack does 80 damage for each energy card you find there. You discard those energy cards, and then you shuffle the other cards back to your deck. So if you discard 5 total energies, you can do 400 damage for 1 fire energy. Its second attack is Burning Kick, 160 damage, and then you discard all energy from this Pokemon. With all those energy discarded, you can use Volcarona V for that Surging Flames attack, which does 20 damage for all the energies in your discard pile. Then you shuffle them back to your deck. Very good synergy. Empoleon is also very unique with the ability Emergency Surfacing. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in your discard pile and you have no cards in your hand, you may put this Pokemon onto your bench, and if you do, draw 3 cards. This is very similar to Beedrill's Elusive Master ability. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is the last card in your hand, you can play it onto your bench, and if you do, draw 3 cards. The only difference is that Empoleon has to be in the discard pile and there has to be no cards on your hand. This could be a great ability to get you out of an emergency situation when you start relying on your top deck. And it also has the attack Water Arrow for 1 water energy. It deals 60 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. And this could synergize well with Rose or Peony. Especially to use those supporter cards, you have to discard your entire hand. Next up is Grottle. This is the stage 1 of Torterra. It has the ability Sun-Drenched Shell. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for a grass Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into your hand. This is great for searching out your basic grass Pokemon or their evolution, because you will need a lot of evolution to increase Torterra's attack. And of course, we have Torterra himself. This is a very powerful Pokemon, especially for its first attack, Evo Press. This attack does 50 damage for each of your evolution Pokemon in play. So if you have 6 evolution Pokemon in play, that means a full bench. You can deal as much as 300 damage with just 2 energies. This Dusknoir has the ability Special Transfer. As often as you like during your turn, you may move a special energy from one of your Pokemon to another of your Pokemon. Not sure where to use this ability just yet. However, what I can think of is probably to switch out special energy from a Pokemon that's about to get knocked out, so that you can recover those energies and use it to another Pokemon. This could be very useful, but still gotta find out where this can be useful in a certain build. Next up is Tropius with the ability Curative Bower or Power. All of your Pokemon that have grass energy attached cannot be confused, and if they're already confused, they recover from that special condition. This is a nice ability which can prevent confusion, and that fact makes this worthy of a special mention. And then we have Burmy. This one is unique because it can transform into 4 different types of Stage 1 evolution. However, since we can only have 4 basic Burmys, we will have to rely on Zoroark with the Phantom Transformation ability, so we can transform into those other Stage 1 Pokemon that Burmy can evolve into. The first evolution of Burmy is Mothim. This one is the most different of the 4. It has 2 attacks. The first one is Raid. It does 30 plus damage, and if this Pokemon evolved from Burmy during this turn, this attack does 90 more damage. And the second attack is Gust. It does 80 damage. As for the rest of Burmy's evolution, we have Wormadam. They're all the same names, so I'm guessing you can have only 4 of these evolution, even though they're of different types. However, they all share the same attack, Matron's Anger. For just 2 colorless energy, it deals 30 plus damage, and this attack does 10 more damage for each Pokemon in your discard pile. Then you can easily energize this attack with the help of Twin Energy and even the new Double Turbo Energy. Next up, we have Drampa V. It has 2 attacks. The first one is Spike Draw. It does 20 damage, and then you draw 2 cards. And the second attack is Dragon Pulse, 160 damage. Discard the top 2 cards of your deck. As for the rest of the honorable mentions, we're going to start with Luxray. With 2 attacks, the first one is Energy Crush. This attack does 50 damage for each energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon. This is especially great against Bolton VMAX or even Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX, who loves to stack a lot of energies. If they have 6 energies in play, you're dealing as much as 300 damage. Its second attack is Flash Impact. It deals 110 damage, and this attack also does 30 damage to one of your benched Pokemon. Next is Grimmsnarl. It has 2 attacks. The first one is Long Hair Shot. This attack does 30 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon for each dark energy attached to this Pokemon. I like the snipe factor of this attack because you can attack from anywhere on the board. However, the stacking of energies can be very hard. And with 5 energies, you can attack as much as 150 damage. Its second attack is Darkness Fang, deals 110 damage. Then we have Tornadoes with the ability Sudden Cyclone. When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench during your turn, you may have your opponent switch their active Pokemon with one of their benched Pokemon. This can be a good disruption, especially if your opponent relies on an effect on their Pokemon. You can remove that by removing them out of the active. Floatzel has a unique attack, Floatify, for 1 water energy. You put up to 2 item cards from your discard pile into your hand. Control deck anybody? Maybe you can get your Crushing Hammers back from the deck and continue to use it so that your opponent will never be able to attack you. This could be good. Next up is Claydol, and I'm more interested in its second attack, Coinciding Figures. It does 90 plus damage, and if you and your opponent have the same number of benched Pokemon, this attack will do 180 damage instead, which is very significant damage. You can probably make good use of the new stadium, Collapse Stadium, which limits both players' benched Pokemon up to 4, or you can use the Avery support card, which can force your opponent to discard Pokemon on their bench until they have 3 left. I also put this Sigilyph in the honorable mentions, more for its Tri-Recharge. Flip 3 coins, attach a number of basic energy cards up to the number of heads from your discard pile to your benched Pokemon in any way you like. I really like this because this could be a great energy acceleration. It's a long shot, but it could be good. And then I have this Clefable, more for its Moonlit Miracle attack. You flip 3 coins, choose a number of your Pokemon in play up to the number of heads, and then for each of those Pokemon, you just evolve it. This is a really good attack, but I don't know if this will really be effective. We're just gonna have to test it out and see if this could be a good support for even stage 2 builds. This Weavile can be very disruptive with its Ransack attack. Flip 2 coins if either of them are heads. Your opponent reveals their hand, and for each heads, choose a card you find there and put it at the bottom of your opponent's deck in any order. This Spiritomb is very interesting because of its Ticking Terror attack. Until the end of your next turn, the defending Pokemon weakness is now Dark. You can probably trap your opponent in the active with Galar Mine, then attack it with a Dark Pokemon. Now with weakness, you're hitting for twice as much damage with an attack. Most Escavalier that has been released are mostly terrible, but this one has an interesting ability, Miraculous Armor. This Pokemon takes 100 less damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon V. So it technically has 220 HP with that extra defense. And then it also has the attack Pike, does 90 damage, and this attack also does 30 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. This Klinklang actually has a great ability, Gear Wall. Your basic Pokemon takes 20 less damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. And this is great, especially if your main attacker is a basic Pokemon. And if you can set up 4 Klinklangs, you can take 80 less damage from attacks. But because it is a stage 2, I am pretty sure this is going to be very awkward or very difficult to set up. I actually really like this Farfetch with the Leeclash attack for 2 colorless energy, which can easily be paid with Twin Energy, and even the new double turbo energy. It does 20 plus damage, and this attack does 10 more damage for each damage counter on your opponent's active Pokemon. A very easy Pokemon to use to double the damage on your opponent's Pokemon. And last but not least, we got Hawlucha, more for its Snowboating Pose attack. For 1 colorless energy, you attach up to 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile to one of your benched Pokemon. I like this because it's a colorless type Pokemon, and you can energize the attack with colorless energy, so you can use this in any type of deck, and it's a great energy acceleration as long as you have 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile. And those are all the cards that I think are very interesting in the new Brilliant Stars set. Thank you so much for watching the Popsicle Nightly News. My name is Joseph. Have a good night. And that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please don't forget to smash the like button. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and please consider subscribing to this channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching the Popsicle Night channel, and as always, stay safe and have a great day.